Previously, we'd logged an inquiry via the Shuttleworth CRM system by dragging an email with all the relevant details to create an inquiry, so that I can then create an estimate from that. We can open up the event, and I can see all the details related to the estimate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go and create an estimate. And because I'm going to source this from outside, I'm going to create a request for quote by using a master component, which gives us all the details related to this particular inquiry. All the information dropped in related to the customer. All I need to do is put in a quantity here. And then when I go to my components tab, I'm going to then, it's dropped all the information relative to this particular inquiry. I can add any additional information if I want to, and now I'm going to go and create the RFQ itself. When I create the RFQ, what I'm going to do is picked up the default suppliers for this type of work. I can add or subtract those suppliers depending on what I'm doing. It also puts a due date onto the activity as well, so that I can get the system to chase if I don't get a response from the suppliers in the specific time. And once I'm happy with all that information, then all I need to do is click on the Send RFQ button, and that will then send a request for quote out to the supplier. All we need to do now is wait for those responses. What happens is the system sends an email off to the supplier with a hyperlink. They click onto the hyperlink, which takes them onto this website. You can see there's the request for quote for the Trooper brochure. So as a supplier, I come in and open that particular request for quote. There's a specification, there's a PDF, which I can look at all the detail that's required in terms of preparing an estimate. As a supplier, I would create my estimate in the usual way, and then I would enter all the information back into the website. So I can put a reference number there, possibly my estimate number. I can then put the lead time of how long it takes me to turn this particular work round, and then I can put my prices in. As somebody who's specifying what we require, we could ask them to break down the prices by material as well as the print aspects, and also a run-on price if required. I can, as a supplier, upload an attachment, so if I wanted to attach a formal quote letter and add any comments relative to this particular quote. Once I OK that, the system then, supply chain sends automatically the information back into the Shuttleworth system, so that the person who's put out the RFQs can collect that information. The system will tell them when all the responses have come back. They can then open up that request for quote event, which will show them all the relevant prices with all the relevant information. And all I need to do is select the price that I'm going to go with. Once I do that, then I can post all those costs into my summary page, where I can apply a profit margin to that, and then gives me a suggested selling price. I can go back to the original inquiry, and from that, into my Documents tab, I can create a quote letter and email that off via Microsoft Outlook to my customer. Once I've done that, and we keep a record of every document that we send to our customers, I can close that event, and what the system will do is it'll prompt me to raise a subsequent event, which would inevitably be, I want that to be followed up. So as a follow-up quote activity, we can allocate that back to the original sales representative with a date when we expect it to be done, save and close that, and that would now appear on their event list as an activity for them to follow up.